We're here at Nintendo's New York City store to play a lot more of 1-2 Switch, the new minigame collection for the Nintendo Switch. I played it before last month, but Chris, this is your first time playing Nintendo Switch.
This is my first time touching a Switch.
How was it for you?
It was really interesting. So right off the bat, I gotta say, the Joy-Cons are a lot more comfortable to hold than I expected. The game itself is a little strange.
The whole point of these games, you're not looking at the screen. These are mini games where you're generally looking against your opponent. It's more like a board game than an actual video game.
I mean, Nintendo has run with like the board game metaphor in Mario Party for years, but this takes it and runs with it in a way that feels very natural, which is not something I expected. The diversity of the games in 1-2 Switch is frankly nuts. So we did the usual. We milked some cows. It was a very sensual experience. We shot each other. Slightly less sensual, but still very good. And then we played Runway. Devendra, can you just describe what Runway is?
So if you've ever seen like a model on a runway, we basically walked back and forth with our swinging our hips, and it's using the motion sensors to tell like how many swings you're actually doing. Basically, that game made us look really silly, and that's what I noticed about all these games. You have to be prepared to look a little silly, but I think that's the fun of it. Even Nintendo recommends that you probably want to have a drink before you play some of these, but that means it actually could be really cool for parties, right?
Yeah, I think that's really where we're going to see 1-2 Switch shine. Compared to something like Wii Sports, which was a packing game way back in the day, I played that sort of non-stop for a solid month. Just because you've got a standalone single-player mode. If you want to bowl, just bowl. You don't really have that option here. There is no single-player mode in 1-2 Switch, which is a little odd, don't you think?
Probably a little odd. Even Nintendo's developers were like, yeah, you could probably figure it out. It's sort of like playing a card game against yourself. Maybe that way. On stage, we also saw several other games that they demonstrated too, right? We saw a flag signaling game. It's a game where you're entirely repeating the gestures that they're shouting out at you. You have to listen to the woman announcer, do the opposite of what the guy thinks. So that was weird.
We saw Team Battle for the first time, which it takes on the board game metaphor as we've seen before. We kind of assumed something like this would happen, but it's nice to see it kind of in action.
So the team battle, they basically divided us into two groups. I guess it'd be really useful in parties where you have a whole bunch of people and you want to have one side going against the other. It lets you rotate through the mini games at random. Kind of fun. So Chris, what are your final thoughts after playing the Switch for the first time?
Well, I gotta tell you, it's been a pretty eye-opening experience. As I mentioned on the podcast ages ago, I pre-ordered the Switch, really wasn't sure if I was gonna keep it. I think I am now. I don't think that's completely due to 1-2 Switch, but seeing what they've done with this, and frankly seeing how a room full of people got really into this is giving me a little extra hope for a console that otherwise I wanted it to be one thing and now this is what I'm getting, and I'm sort of okay with that. But you've played with Switch multiple times. Where are you at now?
This is my second time playing some of these 1-2 Switch mini games and the Switch in general. I think it makes a really great first impression. My worry is that I don't know how long these games will be fun if you own it, and are you going to keep playing them 2 or 3 months after you buy the console? I don't know yet, but there are a lot of games in there. They hinted that more could be added eventually, and there are also other games on the console too.
You'll be able to get 1-2 Switch for $49.99 on March 3rd. You can also get the Nintendo Switch itself for $2.99 same day. Devendra, I think we need to go play some more games, my man.
All right.